Hey, VA Nation, Jeff Newton here with National VA Loans, and I'm joined today by my friend, business partner, and Navy veteran, Josh Buffum. Josh, how's it going?
It's going great, Jeff. Wintertime in Kansas City, nothing like it.
I tell you, well, at least we got the cheese to keep us warm.
Oh, my God.
And
everybody hates us.
I know, so we don't want to piss everyone off and talk about the cheese. It sucks 12-1. Worst 12-1 team ever, right?
Yeah. How are we going to win this week?
Well, I'm sure it'll be by a field goal and not much more. I don't know how to tell you to not take the Chiefs.
Oh, but it jinx us.
Well, you probably did knock on it. But today we're going to talk about cash-out refinances and the advantages of cash-out refinances.
Notice the screen here.
Yeah, we got
falling money.
Yeah.
How to access your money.
How to access your money, and that's the most important thing on a loan. I mean, on a refinance is how do I access my money? So let's go in and kind of dive into some of the big advantages, and I'll let you start us off with the number one and one of my favorites.
Well, as most veterans know that have done a VA home loan, especially a VA refinance, that the availability of all of your equity for a cash out is an incredible feature. It doesn't exist in the industry.
No.
Not since before 2008 collapsed.
Well, yeah. A lot of things happened in 2008, but you're right. So what Josh is talking about is being able to access 100% of your home's equity. So that means if your house is worth $300,000, you can take out up to 100% of the equity in your home, which you could do a loan for $300,000. It's pretty amazing.
Whatever the appraisal value
is what you can take out.
Right.
Exactly. So if you owe $150,000 and your home's worth $300,000, you can do a loan for $300,000 and access $150,000 worth of that equity. Now, how you can use that equity, of course, that's always a question people ask. Well, how do I use it? Do I have to do this with it or do I have to do that with it? And the answer is you can use it however the hell you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
you go on vacation. Go on vacation.
Yeah.
Pay for your college education for your kid. You can do that. You want to pay off debt.
You want to set a little money aside so you have a little bit of a nest egg. You can do that.
You want to buy another home.
You can do that. In fact, I'm doing one right now, a VA cash out. And the guy, it's a funny story and I segue a little bit, but the guy he's got some land right beside him.
Yep.
And he doesn't want any rando just moving in and buying that land up.
Oh, I feel his pain.
Yeah, I know. You've been through this too. And he's like, man, I'm willing to do whatever just to buy this land. And
he should do it.
And he's doing it. And that's what we're doing. So
yeah, you like the scenery, buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can use it for about whatever you really want to use it for. And, I'll give you a couple of different tips that I look at. In fact, I just talked to a gentleman yesterday out of Oklahoma. He saw one of our cash out videos and had a couple questions. And we went through and I looked at and he's got a little bit of debt, not a lot. His debt load's pretty low, so he's in a really good spot. I said, but we could just pay this debt off, and then are there anything around the house you want to do? And he's like, oh yeah, there's always stuff around the house I want to do. So okay, so if you use some of that equity to create more equity and more value in your property, it just keeps going up. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about that, so I could put that deck on that I want. And my kitchen, I hate it. If I want to rip those cabinets out and put new ones in, I could do that. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. He goes, how about the carpet? I'm like, it's your money, man. It's your money. You do what you want with it. Whatever you think will add value.
Right. And with a VA loan, you're never paying mortgage insurance. And if you have any disability at all, even a partial disability, 10%, you're not paying a funding fee. Exactly. So you're accessing 100% of your equity to do whatever you want with no mortgage insurance and in some cases, no funding fee. And if in a healthy veteran with no disability, you've got a minimal funding fee.
Minimal funding fee on those. So again, one of our top tips on this would be, yes, definitely pay off debt. I mean, I think we all kind of maneuver in the way of how much money's coming out of my pocket every month versus, we aren't billionaires, right? If we were billionaires, we probably wouldn't worry about those kind of things.
I wouldn't be doing this video.
Yeah, I still would be. I love you all. But
no offense.
Well, he'd be doing it just be from a different location, right? But the fact of the matter is if you can reduce the amount of money that's coming out of your pocket every month to pay bills, then that increases your cash flow, as you say, and that puts more money in the bank. And if there's a way to do that with accessing the equity, this is the way to do it. And then a couple other little quick tips on this. You can refinance a non-VA loan into a VA loan. So there's a myriad of different reasons, and we're not going to go over them on this loan, but of why you possibly could have, when you bought your home, you could have done it on either an FHA loan or a conventional loan. There's reasons, and like we've always said, every situation is specific to you and you alone.
But you could have gone with wrong lender.
That's typically the number one reason, honestly, and unfortunately, that's one of the number one reasons. But you can take a non-VA loan, whether it be a conventional FHA or hell, even if you have a reverse mortgage right now and you wanted to get out of your reverse, and you can do it as a VA loan. So that possibility exists to do that as well. Now, another benefit, of course, is our last one kind of on this bullet point is interest rate. Possibility of lowering your interest rate, or if you happen to be in an ARM, which is anyone in ARMs anymore?
I mean, there's probably some.
I mean, I guess there's a few. So an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage, those used to be a lot more prevalent back 8, 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And not to get too technical, but the yield curves inverted. The 2-year was higher than the 10-year, so it made short-term rates go up. So really, a lot of people don't do the ARMs anymore. But if you do happen to have an ARM, a VA cash out refinance is a great way to convert it over to a fixed rate mortgage, so you don't have to worry about rates fluctuating. So that's kind of some of the initial advantages of it. So next we want to touch base on the required credit and eligibility for a VA cash out. So with
Stride Bank, if you have a 580 credit score, you qualify for a VA cash out, and that's up to 100%. So you can do a 100% loan with a 580 credit score. Now, even if you don't have a 580 credit score and you are a 540 or a 550 or a 560, Jeff and our team and we could always find a way to get you up to a 580. It may take a couple of months, but there's always a solution. There's always a way to get you mortgage ready.
What have we been saying for years? There's always a plan.
There is always a mortgage plan.
Absolutely. So if you know that, okay, I know my score is around 560, 570, 540, somewhere in there, and you want to understand how to get it up there, that's where you give us a call at 855.
I don't want to call them and tell them a 580.
Yeah.
No, bad plan. Bad plan. Call us. We've looked at thousands and thousands of credit reports. We've seen all kinds of solutions for all different kinds of problems. Call us, bounce it off of us. We'll have a plan for you. You'll be there in no time.
Exactly. 855-956-4040. Give any of our VA specialists a call. We had someone call on a VA cash out loan that had a 440 credit score, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that's low. And we closed their loan. Guys.
Yeah.
And I know that you're probably
not that day.
Not that day. But I know you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that's not really that significant. But in our world, that is very significant, because most people, what they would have done is they would have kicked that veteran to the curb, and they wouldn't have spent 2 seconds on it.
They might not have called him back.
Hell, they wouldn't have called him back. They'd have been mad. They spent $160 for a credit report.
Well,
I mean, that's just how it works. But what we did is we sit down with them. They were receptive to everything we talked about. We devised a plan, and we made it work for them to where they accessed their cash, they paid off debt, they saved themselves money.
The best thing, they did what we told them to do.
Exactly. And we worked together to devise that plan. So that's a huge, huge part of it. So don't let credit score deter you. Give us a call. We're more than happy to walk through it and talk to you about it. Next in the eligibility is obviously your eligibility, your CEO, your certificate of eligibility. How do you get that, Josh?
Well, you call us because we know exactly how to get it right away. We access those government agencies and we get your certificate of eligibility usually within a day or two. We'll know exactly what your certificate of eligibility is and how much your benefit amount.
And Josh is a big under promise, over deliver guy, which I am as well. So when he says a day or two, what he really means is in 2 or 3 minutes. It's that quick sometimes, guys. About 10% of them we can't access online immediately.
Like mine.
Like yours. Yours was one of them, and I think it took a couple days.
It's because it's from the 80s.
Well, it's the old one. So that's what happens. But those things we can usually get right away. So don't stress on, well, how do I find that? How do I get that information? Just give us a call, 855-956-4040. We'll be more than happy to get that information for you so you can have your certificate of eligibility. Just a couple other small things in the credit and their eligibility things. Obviously, stable income. Now, if you have VA disability and that's your primary source of income, that's considered 100% stable income.
Absolutely.
Stable job. Again, if your disability is not your primary source and you have a job, then we need a stable job. Now, that doesn't mean you got to be on your job 10 years and work for the same place and all this kind of stuff. It just means that you have to have stable employment, right? It's continued employment. So, of course, if you have questions on that, give us a call. We can go over that.
Sure.
Then some of the musts are home equity. I think that was self-explanatory, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to have equity in your home to take out equity.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take a 100% loan if you're mortgaged to 100%.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't 2004 anymore. You remember the 125% loan?
Ah, God, I did.
The dumbest loan in the history of loans?
I never did one.
I did 2 of them, and it made me want to puke when we did them. But especially because one of the guys took that extra 25% that he pulled out, and he went to Vegas and lost it all. It was a nightmare. But it happened. So
here lies the problem in 2008
and before. Now, this last one is interesting because you can't have multiple VA loans at one time. So the home that you are going to cash out on, that you want to pull equity from, it must be a primary residence. Mm-hmm. So it can't be a home that you vacated, that you kept, and are now renting out. You can't do anything. You can't do any kind of cash out on that, but you can cash out on any of your primary residences. All right, Josh, what's our next topic here?
Well, we're going to talk about the funding fee. So a VA funding fee is 2.3 for first-time use, or for first-time use, and 3.6 for subsequent use. And obviously, if you have any kind of disability at all, 10%, 80%, 50%, it is 0 all the time.
Correct. So let's explain what a funding fee is. So the funding fee comes from the VA, the Veteran Affairs, because they are securing 25% of any loan amount that you do through the VA. That funding fee is a fee that is charged on top. So if you do a loan for $100,000, it's subsequent use, it's your second time or third time or 18th time that you've used your VA loan, they're going to add a $3,600 fee on top of the loan.
And you know what that fee does? That fee protects all VA loans throughout the country that are being done. It basically insures all of the VA loans. So you're helping other veterans with the funding fee because you're basically allowing them to access these homes with no money down. And that gives the lender some security because the VA is collecting money so they stay solvent.
It keeps the program alive.
Exactly.
And the beauty of it is and you guys have probably heard me say this before, and I say it all the time, but the VA there's a lot of things they don't do right, because I hear stories about the VA hospital and insurance and things like
They're
that.
better.
And they are getting better. But the one thing that VA did right is they did the VA home loan right.
Oh, my God.
And because if you have at least this 10% service-connected disability and you're drawing any kind of service or any kind of VA disability, then you do not pay a funding fee, okay? Which is pretty amazing. So you're a veteran. And you do VA loan. You've done your loan VA many times.
My only disability is I'm short and bald.
Well,
they don't count that as a disability.
I know.
I don't know why.
Not yet. He has petitioned for it, I think. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think many veterans would have any concern paying that fee if it meant that guys that have a disability don't have to.
Well, then understand you're financing that fee. Even if you do a 100% loan, that fee is on top of the loan, and you're paying it over 30 years or 15 years or whatever term you decide. So it's a nominal, hardly even notice the difference in payment funding fee.
Yeah. So again, but it is something to consider anytime you're doing a VA loan. Some other costs to consider within a VA loan is obviously title fees. Every loan transaction is going to have title fees. The title prepares the title.
And they're different in every state.
And they are different in every state because they search title, they make sure there's no liens, there are additional liens, no liens that you may not have known about, so they're going to do all that. They're going to do all the closing for you. They're going to handle the transaction for the money when we send the wires and things like that. And then, of course, one of the ones and this is really different in every state, is tax stamps.
Tax stamp.
Some
don't have them.
Yeah, Missouri, no tax stamp.
Kansas does.
Which we don't like Kansas. There are tax stamps in different states, and some of them are larger than others. I mean, if you go to New York, I mean, there's a sizable one, and then sometimes you can get down into
all taxes are bigger in New York, aren't they?
Yeah, yes, and everything's bigger in Texas except taxes, and they're always bigger in New York. So it's just something you need to consider. Now, those are things that we're going to know right away for you.
Right.
Be able to go through and talk about.
And then there's always the appraisal.
Yes.
The appraisal is a VA certified appraiser.
Correct.
So it's kind of the top of the line appraiser. It's usually reserved for the best appraisers. They know the VA programs. They understand what the needs of the veteran administration are and what the needs of the lenders looking to do these loans are. And they're looking for certain aspects of the home to make sure the safety of the veteran is protected. So these appraisals can run, I don't know, anywhere from $500 to $700. Depends on what state.
Correct.
A lot of times you're in.
Geographically, I always say, because Missouri and Kansas may have the same cost for an appraisal. Let's say it's $600. But you may be in a very obscure, very small part of Kansas or Missouri,
right.
a rural area,
yeah.
and so the closest appraiser is 100 miles away.
Yeah.
So that appraisal cost will go up.
Or you may have an unusual property that requires a comp search that extends beyond normal parameters.
Or a 2 or 4 unit property.
Yes. So there's a variation of what that cost could be, but there's always an appraisal cost.
Always. Next thing that there always is, and this is going to vary by the lender. So us at National VA Loans and Stride Bank, it's a lender's origination fee. VA does have it capped at 1%, which I think is great. Really, I think it's great because I think a lot of these companies would charge you 40% if they could. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, at National VA at Stride Bank, we have a lender fee, and it is $9.95. Okay, it's just figured into the
That's low for the industry.
Absolutely. A lot of the companies you're going to call and talk to. Some of the big companies, we're not going to name any names, but some of the very big companies out there will push that limit to the threshold. They will charge 1% regardless of who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. We don't agree with that. It's 1%. I mean, here's how you look at it. If you're doing a $300,000 loan, that's $3,000. Ours is $995. Right. Which is another
$500,000 loan. That's $5,000. Ours is $995.
Another really good reason to give us a call at 855-956-4040. We make sure that we can take care of veterans versus making tons of money off veterans. There's a difference in philosophy, I think.
And you feel like you help more, you get more.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
I can sleep at night. I don't know about you, but I sleep like a baby.
I've lived long enough to figure this out. Help more, you get more.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, all right, next topic and last topic in this video series is going to be the VA cash out refinance process.
What's number one, Jeff?
Oh, number one is, I think it's choose a good lender. Choose a good lender, which is where you call us at 855-956-4040. But yes, choosing a lender, man, it's
a professional.
Yes.
Somebody knows the process, the ins and the outs, understands veterans. I mean, I'm a veteran myself, so when I talk to a veteran, I instantly understand exactly what they've been through. Not every veteran. Some veterans had horrible war situations and saw things that I never saw. But the overall experience, the process of becoming a veteran, the being away from your family, it's
day to day.
Yes. I mean, it's a commitment, and it's a large commitment. A lot of us make when we're really young, and we really don't understand how much of a commitment it is. But whenever you look back, almost to a man, most veterans are happy that they did what they did, and happy that they had that experience.
Absolutely. I've not spoken to any, especially throughout my career with working with veterans. I've just not spoken to any like, I hated that I did this. I regret it. Never those words have I ever heard come out of anyone's mouth.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
No, exactly. And I tell my son, I've got a 16-year-old, I tell him all the time, I said, if it's not hard, it's probably not worth your time.
Yeah.
Everything in this world that's worth it is a little bit hard. It just is. I mean, nothing comes easy. If it's all easy, we'd be eating cotton candy and everyone would be happy. That's not the way it is. Exactly. That's just kind of the way it works. So finding the right lender, the right people, and something else that goes into that just a little bit is you gotta kind of like who you're working with. I mean, if you don't like the person you're working with, if you cringe when the phone rings, if you cringe when you're reading their email, there may be a little something to that. So I know that I like to do business with people I like, and I think I don't think I'm alone in that. I know you're the same, and that's something that I think most people do. So make sure you like who you're working with, and then make sure that those people are trying to screw you around, and that's pretty vital. So throughout that process, obviously, we're going to obtain the application, the home loan application. You're going to either complete it over the phone or online,
and then we're going to get your certificate of eligibility. And that's what gives us the determination of what you're eligible for from a benefit standpoint.
And then with that application, we're going to sit down with you and we're going to discuss all the options. Mm-hmm. Is it better to do a 90% cash out versus 100%? Is it better to take this cash and pay these things off and do this stuff to your house and then apply extra towards your mortgage loan? is it better to buy the interest rate down? And I'd say that because what I mean by that is pay discount points to get a lower interest rate. And obviously we all think a lower interest rate is great, right? That's the key. But the fact of the matter is, it has more to do with market conditions because you do have the VA roll option available to you at a later time, and you need to be talking to professionals that look at those market conditions and figure out, okay, which is the best way to do this thing.
Especially in times like now, because the rates are a little higher than what we've experienced in the last few years. So the idea of being able to have an IRRRL available in the near term is a good thing.
Yes.
Even if you do 100% cash out in 210 days, you can do an IRRRL.
Exactly, and that's where talking to a professional and picking the right lender comes in. Because if you were to pay $4,000 to buy your interest rate down, and then all of a sudden in 8 months, I'm like, hey, got great news! I can save you another 3/4 of a point on your interest rate. Well, now you just wasted $4,000.
I think we're starting another video. We need to finish this one.
Yes. Sorry. So after that, we order the appraisal, we order the termite inspection, everything gets moving on that end, and then underwriting process. And then the best part of it is we close your loan and you guys get your money.
And it's smooth and it's easy.
We make it as smooth and easy as possible. So, hey, to contact us here, it's 855-956-4040. Check us out at nationalvaloans.com. And, of course, I know we put the subscribe button somewhere in this video, but check us out at youtube.com/nationalvaloans to stay up to date with the most current information that's out there on VA home loans and really the market in general. Guys, until next time, thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do. God bless and take care of yourselves.